Welcome back, Linux enthusiast. This is the 7th episode of our Linux series. If you have missed any of our previous episodes, please click on the link above. In this video, we'll be covering the various text editors available in the Linux. To learn more about Linux, you can check out our DevOps course. The link is available below in the description box. So let's start the video without wasting any time. Alright, so let's talk about some editing tools that we have present in the Linux systems and we have been using so far, and you guys must be thinking, okay, how to edit a file, what are the editors that are available in Linux? Like for example, in Windows you guys are using anything, let's say TextEdit or any other editors. In Linux also there are such editors available. So in this topic we'll be discussing about various type of editors. For example, you can see in the slides that we have VIM editor, and then we have Nano editor. After that we have a GUI editor as well in the Linux systems. Then we'll talk about some of the important files or tools that is basically being used for the file operations, and it's kind of good in terms of handling some sort of tasks related to the file. For example, fetching up the rows which are top 5 rows, or fetching up the rows which are top bottom 5 rows. So tail commands is basically being used for fetching up for the last one, and head is for the starting, and then more and less, all these things we will see in this topic. So let's just start the demo without wasting of any time. I'll just talk about the VIM here. So currently, let's say I am logged in with user parallel. All right, so let's create a file. So earlier we saw that we can create a file using cat command. That is fine. You can also append the data in the cat command itself by doing the redirections. That is also fine. Now let's talk about creating a file and adding up an contents using the vim command. So let's say I am creating a file, file1.txt. okay, and it has some contents. So I'll just remove this content. Let's say, how do you remove this content? So Vim is a tool. VI is also a tool in Linux. Vim is the advanced version of VI. It has some other shortcuts and some great level of capabilities. That's why Vim is always preferable. There are other editors. We have Nano editor, but I find it might difficult and not for so much use. But Vim is something, you have, if you have really learned the Vim and the commands and shortcuts of Vim, it will be gonna be really helpful for you guys. So let's say I am in the Vim editor. So there are basically 3 type of modes I will be talking about. So in Vim editor, so we have something called insert mode. Okay, that is one type of mode. Then we have execution mode. Okay, that is second type of mode. Then we have command mode. Okay, so this is another type of mode. So there are 3 type of modes available in the Vim. One is insert, second one is execution, third one is command. So whenever we create a file or open a file, we are by default in the command mode. Okay, whenever you open a file, I have not pressed any keys, I am just entering the file. Okay, so now I am currently in the command mode. So let's see, this is a line. Now we will slowly started seeing how to do operations here. So let's say I want to delete this line. Okay, so how do you delete it? There is one way to do it, I'll tell you. So before that, let's just go to see how to add some contents or how to write something inside the VM using Vim. So you have to go into insert mode in order to make any changes in the file, in order to add any few lines or comments. So how do you do that? So there are 3 options you can use. Either you can press keyword I. Okay, so once you press keyword I, you will see in the bottom you are into insert mode. Okay, so that is one way of going from command mode to insert mode, is by pressing I. Okay, let's just go back to command mode. So how do you go back from insert mode to command mode? Is you have to press escape. Okay, once you press escape, you will again in the command mode. So in the command mode, you usually don't see anything in the bottom. In the left bottom corner, you don't see anything specifically mentioned, which means you are inside the command mode. Now let's talk about another way of going into insert mode. We have checked already I. There is another keyword called A. So if you press A, you are also into insert mode. Okay, with A also you can just go into insert mode, but you see a difference here. When I pressed my cursor was at letter I and it was still at the letter I. But if I go again to the command mode and if I press A, my cursor, which was at previous position, it just went to one more position once. So it is just basically trying to show the kind of little changes or stuff, but it is eventually going into the insert mode. There is one more way to go into insert mode is from the command mode. You can just press O, keyword O. So as soon as you press keyword O, you see the change here. It just jumped the cursor into a new line. Okay, and you see the modes have changed from command to insert mode. Okay, so that is one thing. Now after going into insert mode, you can type anything. Okay, that is, so typing is only allowed in the insert mode. If I go back to the command mode by pressing escape, I cannot type. Let's say if I type anything other than I, A and O, so I am unable to type it. Why? Because command mode does not allow you to type anything. Command mode specifically tells that you have to provide some sort of a command that you would want to execute. Okay, so that is what the command mode is being built for. So let's press I again. So now how to move the cursor from left and right. So usual left arrow will take the cursor left, right arrow will take the cursor right, bottom arrow will take the cursor bottom, top arrow will take the cursor top. That's like a straightforward thing. And then let's say if you would want to, from the command mode, if you would want your cursor to shift from here and there, you can use, there are some command options. For example, there is one thing called H. So if you press H, H will take you to the left side always. So it will move the cursor into left. But this is happening in the command mode, not in the insert mode. Because if you go in the insert mode and you type H, it will type H for you. Okay. What if, let's say I want to, whatever the changes I did, I want to undo the changes. So the changes, anything command that you would want to execute, everything will be happening in the command mode. Okay. First you have to go from insert mode to command mode by pressing escape. Then you press U. U is specifically for undo. So when I press U, that will remove the additional H which I did not want in my file. So it has removed everything. Okay. Now in the command mode, so it says that one change it did 21 seconds ago, whatever the change it was, it has reverted the same change back. Okay. So with H, you can take your cursor in the left side, being in the command mode. If you want to take your cursor in the right side in the command mode, you can use I. Okay, sorry, not I, you can just use L. L will take your cursor in the right side. Okay, so H will take your cursor in the left side, L will take your cursor in the right side. What if you want to go down? So you can press J. Okay, J will take your cursor down, and if you want to use take your cursor up, you can press K. Okay, so H, J, K and L, these are the four keyboard keys which will help you to navigate your cursor in the command modes, up, down, left and right. But same thing you can do with the arrow key. So I think arrow key is very simple, but in order to explain, there are some other shortcuts as well. You can whatever comfortable for the user, they can just apply it, as per their own ease. All right, so now let's talk about how do you want to move to the beginning of the line. So let's say currently my cursor is at a letter called is. Okay, it's at the character I. Now I want it to take it to the beginning of this line. So for that you can press 0, numeric 0. Once you do that, you're automatically being taken your cursor in the beginning of your line. So let's learn this again. If I am at anywhere in the file at any line, I want to take my cursor at the beginning of that line, just press 0. It will by default take your cursor at the beginning of the line. So these executions I am doing in the command mode. So these are the commands that I am passing to the Vim. Okay. Now let's say if there is no white, if you want to move the cursor to the first non-white space characters, you can use caret symbol, which is nothing but usually present at the numeric key 6. You have to press shift and then press 6. It will automatically take on caret as a symbol and then it will do its job. Okay. What if you want to move at the end of the line? Okay. How do you do that? So you have to press $. So once you press $, dollar will take your cursor to the end of the line. Okay. So that is what $. does. If I want to jump from one word to another word, how do I do that? So you can press W. So W will jump your cursor at the first character of the next word. Okay. We'll see it again. So if you want to jump your character from comma to this, that is T is the first letter of that character. So if you want to jump it to there, so you're just pressing W. Again W, it will take to the first character of next word, which is. Okay. Again W, it will take to the first character, which is S of word agile. Okay. And then similarly T. So that's how you can jump to the next word. What if you want to jump to the beginning of the word? So you can press B. So when you press B, it will do the opposite of jump, W. So W was taking our cursor jumping to the next word, and B is doing the same thing in the reverse order. It's just jumping at the previous word first character. All right. So that's how W and B are being used. What if you want to jump to the end of the file? So let's say, I am just typing and filling up some gibberish here, and here is my cursor. I want to go to the end of the file. By using arrow key, it will be hard because sometimes, let's say there are 10,000 lines. How much time it will take to pull down the arrow keys and to reach to the bottom of the file? It's really hard. So the easy solution is use keyword called capital G. So when you press capital G, it will automatically take your cursor to the end of the line. Okay, end of the file also. So in the file, whatever the last line it would be, it will take your cursor there. Okay. What if you want to move your cursor to the beginning of the file? So you have to press small g 2 times. So when you press GG 2 times small g, then it will take your cursor to the beginning of the file. So capital G just 1 time, take your cursor to the end of the file. Small g 2 times will take your cursor to the beginning of the line. Okay. What if you want to see the numbers present in the file? So everything such like that, you have to basically use the execution mode. So execution mode only allows you to perform some execution stuff. So we have seen command mode, we have seen insert mode. Let's talk about execution mode as well. So from command mode to execution mode, you can just go by typing colon. So as soon as you type colon, in the bottom you can see your cursor is blinking on that colon keyword. After that, you are into the execution mode. Now you can type commands whatever you want to execute it, and then you can just go there itself. Okay. Now let's see. So I want to see the numbering of my file. So how can I do this? There is a command called set number. Okay, and then I press enter. So now you see, it's so easy for you to read what is the number of a specific line. Okay. Now, since you know that number is there, okay. So let's say I am at the line number 1. I want to jump to line number 6. For that also, you have to go into the command mode. Okay. Or execution mode also, like from the command mode to execution mode you can do. So what you can do is press colon again in the execution and jump. Let's say I want to jump on the line number 6. Okay, my cursor was at line number 1 previously. So I say colon and then 6. As soon as I provide this execution to happen on my Vim CLI, it jumped my cursor from line number 1 to 6. Let's say I want to jump on line number 3. So you say colon and 3. Okay, line number 3. Now it's blinking your cursor at line number 3. What if you want to jump your cursor on line number 8? So say colon and then 8. Okay, so that is how you can jump. There are few shortcuts for the insert mode. So basically we have already talked before the cursor. It just let the cursor be there. Then capital I also takes your cursor, but at the beginning of the line. So let's say my cursor was at here, and if I press capital I, it goes into the insert mode from the command mode, but it goes in the beginning of the line. And previously my cursor was at somewhere in the middle of the line, but as soon as I press capital I instead of small I, it went into insert mode, but my cursor was at the beginning of the line. Okay. By pressing A also we saw append after the cursor, so it just goes to the next. So if you look at here closely, my cursor is currently blinking at first character of that line number 8, which is A. Okay, now I am pressing A. So A, what it will do is it will just goes into the insert mode, and it will take my cursor from first character to another second character. So that is what A does. Okay, what if I want to, let's say this is a long line, number 3 is a long line, and I directly wants to go into the insert mode but at the end of the line. So how do I do this? You have to press capital A. So capital A will take by default to you at the end of the line. Okay, and in the insert mode. So that is what the usage of capital A. Okay, now what if we have already seen that it creates a new line after wherever the cursor it was and goes into the insert mode. What if I don't want to go below, I want to go above, I want to create another line above where my cursor is currently? So you have to press capital O. So once you do capital O, it will jump a line above and it will go into the insert mode. Okay, so from insert mode, if you want to go to the execution mode, you have to first go to command mode by pressing escape and after the colon to go into the execution mode. So one thing to remember is just to identify which mode you are into currently. Command mode, your cursor will still be blinking. Okay, and you don't see anything at the bottom of your line. Okay, that is what the command mode is. Insert mode is specifically let you see the insert keyword itself at the bottom corner, that okay, you are currently into the insert mode. Okay, execution mode, you see the difference here. You will see a colon at the bottom left corner, as well as you don't see your cursor blinking anywhere else. It will only be blinking just after that colon, which is, which has already come up after pressing colon in the execution mode. Okay, now let's do some search and replace operations, which is very helpful to do in the Vim. How do you do that? Let's say you want to search, like for example in the PDF, how do you search a word? You have to press Ctrl F and then you type the word and it will search it for you. Similarly, here also, how do you do that? In the command mode, you can just do this because command mode allows you to perform any sort of commands. Okay, so to do that, you are currently in the command mode. Just press /. After that, whatever the pattern you want to search. So I want to search Himanshu. So as soon as I typed Himanshu, after /, it has lead my cursor to the keyword where Himanshu is there. Okay, what if I say no, I want to search a trainer? So it has lead my cursor, it pointed my cursor and highlighted that word. Okay, trainer is here for you. So that's how you can search. What if let's say I'll just copy this. Okay, so let's just copy and paste it. So how do you copy a line and paste it? So you have to 2 times press YY. So Y means yanking. So you are yanking the line. So I pressed YY and then P. P is for paste. Okay, as soon as you press P, wherever your cursor was, a below line will be automatically copy and pasted. Okay, same line. Now what I want is, I want my cursor to take a little bit down and then I press P. Since it is already yanked, you don't have to again press, go to the same line and do YY. You can just, it's already being in the cache of that copy that you have done. Okay, It's already Control C has already done. Now you can do Control V any number of times. Similar things you see here. So YY is already done once, and after that I come to the line number 8 and I say press P, which means it is printing or pasting the line. So it has done. So now what if I search a pattern star agile? Okay. So now this pattern has identified itself. What if I want to jump from pattern to pattern, right? So for jumping, okay. So for jumping, you have to do this. Once you find the pattern, you have to press Shift and N. So Shift and Enter. When you press Shift and Return or Enter in your keyboard, it will find the word for you. Let's do this again. Okay, there is one more thing you can do is like you have to identify the pattern first. Once you have identified the pattern, you just press Enter. Okay, now your cursor will start blinking and going to that word. Okay, now to go to the next occurrence of that same word, you have to press N. So when you press N, it will go to the next one. Then you again press N, it will go to the next one. Okay, if you want to go to the replace in the reverse order, then you have to press Shift N. Okay, it will take in the previous order. And if you want to forward one, then you can just press N. So once you have to search it, then hit the Enter button. After that, you can just shift your cursor to another pattern. Okay. Now there is one more thing. Okay. So if you want to search your pattern wherever your cursor, so let's say my cursor is at this line. Okay, I want to search a pattern called star agile, but not after my cursor. Okay, I want to search it pattern backward. So how do I want to search this star agile, not this one. So for that, you can just use question mark in the command mode, and then you just type the pattern, and then it will search it for you, the back one. Okay, so that's how it works. Similarly, for capital N is basically used to repeat the last search backward fashion. Small n is used, let's search this star agile. Yeah, that we have seen already. Small n and capital N, backward and forward. Okay, now let's do replacing some operations. Okay, so for replace, you have to go into the execution mode. As soon as so how do you identify the execution mode? Is as soon as you press colon, you are into execution mode, which means Vim is ready to execute the command that you would want to execute. Okay, so it's always ready for you as soon as you pressed colon. So now here, let's first search that word. So I am searching star agile. Okay, after that, I am saying that, okay, so %s star agile, it's searched me, and replace it with the right star agile. Okay, and then G. So this, what it will do is, I'll explain. So this %s basically will select all the occurrences of this pattern, whatever the occurrences is present in this file, and replace it with this word. Okay, and then G is just to tell that you are going to replace this pattern with a new pattern. So when I press enter, you see the star, there was a spelling mistake in the star agile. Now it has corrected. I have replaced the pattern match. Okay, so that's how you can use substitutions, basically the replace operations. Okay, sometimes we don't have permissions in order to make the confirmation for each match, so you can use GC instead of just a G. Okay, there is one more thing. When you press the colon and you want to see what was the previous execution that you did, okay, and you want to modify that, you don't want to type the entire one, so you can press up and down arrow key. So up and down arrow key will show you whatever the execution that you have performed so far in the Vim file. Okay, so that you don't have to type it again. It's easy for people. Okay, so GC basically replace with the confirmation for each match. Okay, so currently let's say I want to remove this. This is, let's say, VIM session. Okay, so now it asks you for the confirmation that are you sure you want to replace it. If you say yes, I am sure, then it will replace it. So that's how the GC is being used. Just the G, just replace it. GC needs a confirmation and then only it will replace. Okay. Now let's talk about how do you work with multiple files if you would want to work. It's a very high level of Vim in case if gets used to it. So you can just basically use it. So there is first I have to see. Okay, let's before that let's just go back and save the content. Okay, so for saving the file you have to go to the command mode. So from insert mode to command mode or execution mode to command mode, just press escape. So I pressed escape, you are into the command mode. After that, for saving, just go to the execution mode and say WQ and exclamation. So WQ is basically nothing but writing it, saving it, and then quitting your Vim editor. So WQ exclamation will save the file. Okay, so if you look at the content again, so the content with the changes what we did has been saved in our file. Okay, what if you don't want to save the content of the file because there was some issue while you were writing and you realize that, oh, this was the wrong change which I did, I should not supposed to touch that file. So let's say for example I have just added this, and I don't think this is a very legitimate line for this particular file. I don't want to save my changes, I just want to quit this editor. So for that, press colon and then Q and then exclamation. So it will not save, it just close the terminal. So you see the changes were not applied because we just quit the terminal without saving the contents. So that is there. Now let's see if we have another file here, because I'm going to open another file inside the Vim editor on a fun file. So we are editing file1.txt. Cool. If we have example underscore link.txt, let's check if there is anything. Okay, example link.txt. It's maybe a link file or something. It's a link file. Okay, let's create a text file again. I am just creating it, or let's use Vim only to create it. So Vim another test.txt. Okay, I am inside another text.txt. I want to type something. Let's say I said this is another text file. We will be modifying this. Okay, I have written some 2-line content inside my file. I want to open another file from here itself, from this editor. So for that you can use a shortcut called :E and then you pass the file name. Okay, that's fine. Let's see if the file is there. File.txt. Okay, no write since last changed. Add overwrites. That's okay. Okay, let's open file1.txt. Example. What was that file? Another test. Score test.txt. Yeah. So what it has done is, from one file which was file1.txt, I have jumped directly into the another underscore text file. So if you look at like this, I am opening file1.txt. Okay, just look this very closely. This is the content of file1.txt. Okay, this is file1.txt. There are 11 lines and these are bytes. Okay, now let's say I go to another underscore test.txt. So you see the content will change now. Why? Because I am into another file now. So from a file, if you're already editing a file, but you realize that, let's say for some service, let's say Apache or DNS, you are setting up something and you find a configuration file which requires certain prerequisites to happen in another file. So you don't have to close your Vim and then go back to that file and make changes and come back and then again open the file and then update it. In order to avoid all these constraints, what you can do is from a one file editing, you can just jump on another file. So let's say I have jumped from file1.txt to another test.txt by using :e and then the file name. Now I'll make some changes here. This is a jumped file, let's say for example, and I'm saving the changes. Okay, WQ and exclamation. So now let's see what happens. So does this change applied or not? We'll verify. So the changes has been applied here. So which means that you have opened a file and then you realize that there are some other files which needs to be updated. So from a file itself, you can just jump into that another file and you can make the changes and save it from a one file. So you don't have to always come back and then go to the same file and edit it. It will save the time for you, but it is such an operation that usually people don't use it. It depends on like what comes first when in your mind whenever you are doing such an operations, right? So this depends on the use case, if you have it or you remember at the time, okay, let's do it that way. So it's just a shortcut I would wanted to show that by using :e and then you can type the file name, so that will directly jump on that new file. So now let's see this. There is one more thing. If I say :w, if I want this content to be saved in another file, so let's say test.txt. okay, already exist. Okay, so now this content, whatever it was before, has been added into new test10.txt, and if I save this, so I opened file1.txt, but you see test10.txt was not there before. Now it has automatically created and copied my content. So this is very useful when you have a content in some file and you want that to be copied over quickly into another file. Just by presenting in that same file, you can just copy it over using :w. So we'll see that again just to showcase. I just want to show that there is no file called test11.txt. Okay, there is no such things. Now let's open our test10.txt. Okay, we will do some modifications here. How do you delete the line from a file? You can press DD. Okay, when I press DD, so at the time only one line will be deleted. Okay, if I want to delete 2 or 3 lines or 10 lines or 1,000 of lines, you just type that number, numeric number, and after that DD. So let's say I want to delete 3 lines. What all? I want to delete line number 5, 6 and 7 all together, and my cursor is at line number 5 at this moment. So what I'll do is I'll just go to the execution mode by pressing the escape key, and I say 3DD. When I say 3DD, it deleted 3 lines. Okay, so now I will save this content, but I want to save this in test11.txt, which is not there currently in our system. We saw that already. So let's see this, and it has copied over the content from the test10.txt into test11.txt with the modified version of it. So currently, if you look at this, it says I am inside test11.txt and it is a new file. It is not something which was present already. It is a new file. Now, are you sure you want to save this content? Okay, then you press WQ and escape. It will save the content. Now, there is one more shortcut to save this without using WQ. For that, you have to go to command mode and then type Shift ZZ. that Z is that keyword, right? So 2 times if you press that Shift ZZ, it will save the content, and you see the content will be visible here. Okay, what is the shortcut of let's say, I don't want to save this 2 gibberish lines which I have written, so you can just use shortcut called Shift ZQ. Shift ZQ will allow you to not save, just quit. So it's alternative of just colon Q and exclamation mark. Okay, so alternative of WQ is Shift ZZ, and Shift ZQ is for colon exclamation mark. That is this. Okay, so that is about it. And then let's say you want to split files. So I am into Vim test10.txt. I want to split another file, test11.txt. So now you see there are 2 files now. Test10.txt is there. Now test11.txt is also opened up here. Okay, both the files are splitted in my windows. Okay, now how do you navigate actually? So you can navigate via Control W. So Control W will let you go to the cursor from one file to another. So currently my cursor is in the test10.txt. I want to take it to text11. So I press Control W 2 times, and then my cursor is in the test11.txt. So that's how I can use splitting. So what if you want to split and then so okay, just come out of that file, split file. Just I pressed Shift ZQ so that I just don't want to make any changes and just quit the file. And currently I'm in test11.txt. What if I want to split vertical wise? So for that you can use vsplit and then file name. So test10.txt. See, now this is basically, letting me shift from like splitting the terminal from as a vertical wise rather than horizontal. So these are the features you can use. Same Control W will work here, so that you can use to shift your cursor from one file to another file. So let's say I want to make any changes here. Okay, and I want to save the changes in test11.txt, and now the changes were saved here. So that's how you can basically use the splitting features and all. Okay, so now let's talk about some tasks which are very important here to understand, which makes Vim so powerful that you get used to of it. So let's open the file again, test10.txt. Okay, what if I want to replace hi to hello from line number 3 to line number 5? Okay, we saw the replace for all occurrences in the line in the file, but we want specific occurrences from a particular location to another location, or particular line to another line. How do you do this? Colon 3, from 3 to 5 I want. So 3 to 5s. Okay, what you want to replace? Hi to hello. Okay, see, so now it has only replaced from 3 to 5. Okay, now what if you want to add hash at the beginning of line? So how do you do that? Or how do you, later we'll see how to remove that hash. So first let's see how do you add the hash. Where do I want to add the hash? From 3 to, let's say, 5s, then starting with and then hash. Okay, so I'll explain what it is actually. So we are selecting line number 3. From line number 3 to line number 5, okay, from these 3 lines, this caret symbol specify the beginning of the line. Okay, so currently it's just a caret which says that there is nothing in the beginning of the line. Okay, just a caret. I have not provided any other keyword here. So at the beginning of the line where there is nothing, there is just a space, or let's say there is nothing, I want to replace that word in the beginning is hash. So if I press this, it will add or append hash at the beginning of these 3 lines. Okay, so that's how you can make a change. What if you want to remove it? So opposite way you can do it. So from 3 to 5, starting with hash, I don't want hash, so it will remove the hash for you. So that helps actually in order to make the changes in the configuration files where there are some pre-settings already been given, but you don't want those pre-settings to be manually go to that line and then remove the hash. You can do that quickly by choosing the lines. Okay, from this line to that line, I just want to remove hash or I want to comment the hash. You can just do that quickly. Yeah. So that is there. Also, we can make some more tricks and things here in the Vim, like add or remove hash from particular line 3 to 5, let's say, based on their current state, whatever it is. So that you can do multiple in the usage of pipe, for example, like this. Let's try this 3 to 5s, starting with nothing, and then I want hash. Okay, now again 1 to 1, okay. 1 to 2 colon 1 to 2s, and then so this basically usage of it is, let's say, okay, let's see the usage actually. So what we will do is we will uncomment these 2 lines and we will comment these lines. Okay, so together you are doing 2 operations in Vim. See, that's how it supports 3 to 5s. There is nothing in the beginning, add the hash, but from line 1 to 2 there is a hash, just change and nothing. See, so now these 2 lines which had hash, it has uncommented it, and then it has commented the 3 lines. So this is a very good trick in order to do multiple operations together in one single configuration file. So this is like high level of Vim is what we are learning at this moment. There are some other editors, as I told, apart from Vim, but I usually don't use that. But yeah, you can use if you would want to. It looks like this. A Nano editor looks like this. There are some read lines, and there are some shortcuts here where you can, by pressing Ctrl X, it will exit. Okay, by pressing Ctrl O, it will write out wherever you want to write out, and then you can press enter and then you can exit. So something like that you can do. This is the test file. Okay, test.txt, let's say write out WO. Now let's say so now this is how you can do this editing by pressing this write out first. It will tell you, it will ask you where to write out. Do you want to write out in the same file? Once you click enter, and then you can exit it. So it's like there are a lot of other operations for same replace and read file and write out and help and cut and paste. So see, the overall thing is it's a choice of a user which editor they would want to use. Vim is having some powerful operations capabilities that Nano does not. By default, sometimes people use Nano, they like Nano, so it's a perspective of individual. We cannot comment about like which one to use when. So it's all about your choice. Any of the editor, if you know by heart, it's good actually. If you know that, if you really know the tricks of Nano and you like it, you should go with the Nano. But if you like Vim and its own tricks, and if you feel it is easy than Nano, then you should go for the Vim. So ultimate goal is to write the file and make the changes. It's not about choosing which one is good or which one is bad. Since I've already told that Vim is better one because it has some more capabilities of performing some complex operations, which is good. Nano also can do that, but in a complex way. So you have to learn that and you have to do it. So it's all about ease and time, how much you can take it out and then do it. Now. Gedit also, there are some people who use Gedit depending on their choice. So currently it's basically Gedit is nothing but try to open up editor, which is the graphical editor. It's not a command line editor. So it's not opening up here. It's fine. Maybe some package or something it's not allowing at this moment. Let me just see if I try it again. I will see about installed it. Okay, let's see gedit. Okay, it's some issue. It's not able to display, but so it's nothing but gedit is nothing but a command line editor. With the command also you can open it up. So this is how gedit will open when you open it. So it's as simple as this text editor what people use it, right? So this is test file, and then you can save it. Control S. It's a graphical representation. That's what makes Ubuntu user friendly, because there are people who does not have such of command lines. They don't prefer command lines. They prefer UI because they are user of Windows. Slowly they are migrating themselves, or they are learning Linux, right? So they can use gedit. They can edit the file the way they edit in the text edits the Windows, and similarly they can slowly learn the Vim and then do their operation. So it's all about that. So you can just save the file and it will be visible in the command. So these are the three types of editors that we have. Vim, which is good, Nano is also good, and gedit is the graphical version of editor that you can use. Now we'll talk about some commands which are very helpful in order to perform certain actions on the files. For example, I want to find the top 5 lines. I want to fetch the bottom 10 lines, or specific lines. So how do you do that? So there are commands, for example, less command. So let's say, which is, we have commands like file1.txt, let's say less. Okay. So less is giving me the last 10 lines. So let's do one thing. Let's just add some more lines so that we can have some other good thing. So I want to copy 10 lines together and then do print it. So I can press 10 and then YY, and then I'll take my cursor there and then press Y, P. It will just print on the same things. After that I'll save it. So now you look at here, there are a lot of contents. Now let's less the file1.txt. Okay, so now it has opened the file from the beginning itself, and if you keep on pressing enter, it will take you down, or you can press arrow key, that will take you down. So less basically shows the starting of the file, and then slowly you want to read the file, then you can use less. Then you might be thinking, why why are we using cat? See, cat is something it just displays the content once. Okay, it does not let you give a facility where you can just scroll up and then see. If you want to scroll it up, you have to scroll up the entire thing from the mouse, and then you have to see. But less is something which gives you a facility inside the less operator, where it basically let you search and scroll down and scroll up, and you can make changes. So that's how less is used for. Similarly, there is one more thing in less is, if you want to see the last 2 lines, okay, from a text, so it will show you like this, or let's say, no, that's not the thing. I want to start viewing my file from 20th line. So it will start from the 20th line. It will not start from the beginning. So how will you justify that? Let me just set the number and save it. Let's see if it has numbers. That's not. Okay, so okay, fine. Let's set the number. Okay, now you see at line number 22, there is a gibberish, something is written. I want less to read from that line, from line number 22. Okay, not from the beginning. Okay, you just remember this. At the beginning we have, this is VM session written, and line number 22 has a gibberish. So let's do this, less 22, file1. So it will start printing from that gibberish thing. It's not printing from the beginning. What if I remove this less, it will start printing from the beginning of the file. So that's the difference between using less with the options and less without options. And how many options and stuff, you can go to the manual of less, and then you can see opposite or of more. So what are the options that we have present in the less command that you can see? D, enter, and W, and Y, and U. So there are a lot of options which are available currently for the less commands that you can go for it. So you can read through and try it out. So it's all about how much time you give to learn a particular command. It's by choice, so that you can do. There is one more command we have is head command. So head command, basically, let's say I want 10 lines from the starting. So you have to choose option -n, which means only top 10 lines, give me only top 10 lines. Okay, that is what it is giving you. So that is what the use of head. Then there is one more opposite command of head is tail. I want last 10 lines. File1.txt. So it will giving me only last 10 lines. Okay. So I want to see last line for any file. So you can use tail -1. Okay. You can pipe it up and you can do something like this. I want last 20 lines, 30 lines, let's say. In that last 30 lines, I want top 5 lines. So you can use something like this. Okay, so first it is doing tail -30 file1.txt. If you scroll a bit down, so this is starting from here, okay, and then ending with here. Now I wanted this output, whatever it has come up, only top 5 lines. So top 5 lines, if you look at, this is the top 5 lines. Just try to see this, and now you compare here, you get the same. That's what the usage of pipe as well as tail and head commands. So they are basically being used to perform certain operations, whatever the use is. Now there is one more command, more command. So you can do more, and it will tell you the percentage of, and so more basically is quite interesting, as well as it's quite fast in terms of less. So in less, if you scroll your cursor down, so what happens is when you press that bottom arrow key, it slowly takes you line by line, but more does not do that. It takes in the chunks. So let's say earlier I was at percentage 34% of my file was open and visible to me. Now as soon as I press the bottom arrow key, it just took me to the 58% of that file. Then again I have pressed bottom arrow key, it has shown me 80% of my file. So quickly I can just review my file and then do read the content whatever I would want to read. So that's the advantage of using more and less commands. Alright, so let's do something. If you want to open and jump to the pattern, so how you can do this is, you can do this less-p, the pattern. Let's say I want to jump on that pattern. Yeah, copy, or we have trainer, right, from the file1.txt. So less will open that file for you, as well as it will search for that pattern for you. So see, wherever you will scroll a bit down, you will see that pattern will be highlighting for you. So that is kind of a good thing if you would want to see which line my pattern is there. So you can easily detect it and easily identify your pattern. So that's kind of advanced version of what less can do for you, right? What if so show last 20 lines, 10 lines that we have seen. If you want to monitor the logs, so usually what happens is for loggings, if you have servers which are deployed on your Linux machine, you want to monitor the logs for them. So always, if you want real time, because the tail command is not real time if you are using without options. But if you would want, what I meant is not real time is, let's say if I was doing this test.txt, it has just printed, and after that my cursor has come to the next line. So it's ready for executing any command, but I did not want that way. I want it to be real-time capturing as well. So I want a file which is currently real-time having any data. So let's see if we have any such files. We can just check which file can have the data. Okay, let's try to see if Apache 2 can give us Apache 2 access logs. Okay, yeah. So ODNS mask. See, so tail -f opens like this. If you open tail without -f, it just showed us basically the file, and then the cursor has come up on the new shell prompt, right? But here in this case, with using tail -f, it has opened a session in terms of real-time capturing of the log. So now whenever this new log will be written, will be appended here, that time you will see the logs coming up on my window itself by default. So let me try to see if we can load some data and then try to see if it shows up. Yeah, see, now as soon as I try surfing some of my websites which has Apache 2 at the back end, it started showing me the new logs which is generated real time on the screen itself. So this is helpful in terms of troubleshooting when you're troubleshooting any live services or processes or microservices or whatnot, right? So you can just capture it this way. So tail -f is very good command which will show you the real-time logs. So you can see, okay, from this host, at this time, this is a timestamp, this is a method, and these are the REST API, the header part. Then these are status codes and user agent and stuff. Okay, from Firefox, somebody from localhost itself trying at this point to get basically the method, HTTP method, to fetch some sort of a data, and it got 304, which is nothing but kind of a redirection based HTTP methods. So now come out of that tail -f, you can just press Ctrl+C, you will interrupt the signal and then come on to the shell prompts. So that is very good command. Then we have done grep patterns, trainer grep pattern from the file 1.txt, then less. So this will only be printing me the trainer whenever this match of trainer word is there in the file 1.txt, and then in the less mode. Okay, so initially I just grab this. If I just type it this one, let's say, so I see all the trainer in the grep, and it's a color mode because it's alias already grep. So now it's shown me like this, but I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be read in the less or more. Okay, so I am using less or more. So since it's very less, that's why more does not is not very helpful, but less is something it can show you in the, if there are more contents inside it, you can just scroll down, scroll up, and you can, based on that, you can just change it up. All right, so this is about it. What if you want to extract a particular lines that we have already seen, though? Just revise it once. Tail -n, let's say 10 from file 1.txt, and then head -n 5. So this will first last 10 lines, and then from the last 10 lines top 5 lines. Yeah, so yeah, so this is about editors that we have discussed. Vim editors, there are 3 modes: command mode, execution mode, insert mode. By default, whenever you open a file or you try to create a file using Vim, you are into the command mode. To go to the insert mode, you can press I, A, and O, or capital A, similar way, and then it will take your cursor inside the file in the insert mode. After that, you can insert anything, whatever you would want to insert. And then any commands that you want to execute, you have to go to the command mode. From insert mode, go to the command mode, you have to press escape. Similarly, from execution mode, if you want to go to command mode, you have to press escape. From insert mode to execution mode, you have to press escape, first go to the command mode, and then go to the execution mode. In execution modes, you can open files, you can split the files, and you can make changes and modifications. In command modes, you can perform actions like setting up the numbers on the real time and then seeing things, or you are using any commands that you can do. That is what useful for the Vim. And then In Vim, we saw how to shortcut for yanking the file lines and then pasting it up, moving our cursor to the back and front, and how to do cut copy or how to do paste and stuff. So all these things we see how to replace and search patterns. That's what we have analyzed so far in the Vim. Similar things is available in the Nano as well, where with the different complexity and the patterns of Nano, how does it perform. And Gedit, we saw that it's a graphical representation of our editors. Basically, how do we use text editors for Windows. Similarly, Gedit is for Linux, especially let's say for Ubuntu. There are other editors also available. I would say JSON editor is one of it, and there are a lot of other editors available in the market. You can just go for it. But Vim and VI is the best one, is what I use, and I always suggest people to get a grip on this command, and this is very good. Vim is the advanced version of VI. VI does not have the color coding options where Vim it has it. After that, we discussed about how to fetch the top 10 lines, bottom lines, and more and head and tail commands, and then see the real-time logs. If you are running any services, you can use tail-f command. So that is about the editors and the important commands which are being used and helpful for the file systems.
If you want to learn Linux and get certified from IBM, click on this link given below in the description. That's a wrap for this chapter. I'll meet you in the next episode of this Linux series.